Hi, my name is Julia, and I would just like to share some of my experience with the energetic synthesis community. It's a little bit of a longer story. I think I was a member there for a few years. I felt originally drawn to it because I a lot of the information that was given in the community um, was were things that I could feel in my soul to be true. Not everything in there I knew, but partly it helped me understand things better. Mind you, I should say that I was always very adamant of not joining any spiritual groups because I believe that your direct connection to God's source is all that you really need. And that's where you get your information from. My first intuitive thoughts, and I have to say, unfortunately, I have a history of gaslighting my intuition from trauma, was that those were the thoughts that came to me. Wow, this would be the perfect place to trick and gaslight indigos and starseeds and people seeking the truth and understanding and higher embodiments. Um, this would be the perfect place to trap them or to mislead them. That was my intuition. That was what my soul told me. And I slowly ventured into it. I tried a few things out, and I have to say that while I was connected to my core being, um, some of the things helped me a little bit. Some of the problems I have with energetic synthesis is that it's such a vast amount of information. It's just so many little meditations for this and for that and blah, blah, blah. And it seems like um, this enormous effort to ascend or to do anything. I don't know. It's just, there's all these little things. And then, granted, Lisa is the gatekeeper and the one that is um, the source of all this information, I'm assuming. Um, and everybody else is like probably mostly below in her level of consciousness. Um, it was interesting. Like in the beginning, I just did like some of the meditations, tried some of the things, and they worked kind of. They worked. It was okay. Mm. But I always still did things by myself without these meditations and stuff, and that worked too. Um, I did the 12D shield, although I have to say that I felt better without it. It didn't really feel very good. Anyways, flash forward in time. During the first lockdown, I was in Canada, BC, British Columbia, and I had started smoking cannabis in an effort to bring up repressed trauma, and it did, and I got really paranoid, and I could see all the evil in the world really, really clearly. So I started freaking out a bit, and started running around like a chicken with a head cut off. I didn't know where to go, where to be safe. So I ran around a bit in Vancouver and Victoria. And then I finally decided to go back home to Germany to my family. Because the first corona lockdown was just about to start, and I didn't really know where the safest place would be. I didn't know if the community that I was living in on Main Island would be supportive during that time. So I thought, okay, I'm going home. I remember talking to one of our employees on the phone, and he just said to me, "Yeah, Julia, I'm sure we'll find a place for you." And I was just like, okay. And I trusted that. And so I remember sitting at the airport thinking, oh, should I go? Should I not go? Blah, blah, blah. I didn't know where else to go. So I went. And as soon as I touched the ground in Germany, I knew that I had to go, that I went the wrong way. I just knew that. I was just like, fuck. So I was with my family. My mom was on holiday. Anyways, all of these details are not really relevant to the topic of ES. Anyways, it got worse and worse with my mental health and my spiritual health and everything. And a bunch of times I tried really hard to get out of Germany because I had a really, really, really bad feeling that if I wasn't going to get out of there, something really bad would happen. And one attempt was stopped by my family. They reported me missing at the airport, which is completely odd because I'm an adult and I'm allowed to fly somewhere else. But, well, that story is, I'm going to leave out some things. So there may have been a reason why they could have reported me missing, but they thwarted my escape attempt, brought me back, and then they put me in a psych ward after I told them that I had been raped as a child. And because I was a little bit suicidal because I knew that I had to get out somehow. And then it got worse with the suicidality a little bit. And yeah, well, anyways, they put me in a psych ward. The psych ward, holy shit, I could see through like all of the crap that was going on there. And I don't know, it felt like a medical experiment of some sorts. And the therapist there had no empathy. I had told them about my trauma and about what was happening. They never even mentioned that again. All they did was like, hey, here, try to take these pills. I didn't take the pills. I was the only person in the psych ward that was not taking pills, and everybody was trying to convince me to take pills. And during that time, I was really desperate because I could feel that people were ripping, because the rape trauma had come up. I was like this little child that was like, because I'm assuming I have like two pieces here, maybe more. There's this like little piece of me, like a little child that was raped, and people could move into my energy field somehow and rip some, like, I don't know, it takes a part of my energy out. And of course that sounds crazy, and that doesn't sound like anything that you would share with a psychotherapist in the psych ward. But it was really weird. It was like I could feel that inside of me, and then all of a sudden someone next to me would be talking about something of my life, and I was just like, what the fuck is happening here? This is just really weird. Anyways, I was there for about 2 weeks. Oh no, I emailed Lisa um, out of desperation because I needed help. And she just said to me, yeah, you have to be careful because in psych wards, all of their energy works backfires, so don't do that. Fair enough. But she didn't really, in retrospect, like, she could have helped me so much more. She has such consciousness that she could have tapped into what is really going on for me in my energy field and could have assisted me in some kind of way, shape, or form, but she chose not to, which is kind of negligent, I think. Anyways, I got out of the psych ward and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse, and I tried to escape once to Canada again, but it, I, yeah, it failed. And so things got really bad, and I attempted to take my own life. That was almost 2 years ago during the first lockdown. I jumped off a building, and unfortunately, I can say now, I survived. I woke up in the hospital, being fucking paraplegic. I'm now sitting in a wheelchair and went through a fucking nightmare of hospital ordeals and like, oh, you just can't imagine. Anyways, that's for a different video, but I had a really, really, really hard time with what had happened because as soon as I woke up at some point to the reality of what had happened, first of all, there was a huge shock, but there was this feeling that someone else, that I didn't do that, like that I would have never taken my life, that something has pushed me in, I don't know, some other person did that. That's what my feeling was. And I was so desperate, and I was so, yeah, I didn't want to live anymore. I could not imagine my life in a wheelchair. And I knew that that was not the divine plan. I could feel that in my soul that this was not part of my divine plan. Later then I realized I was taken down by evil forces. Um, anyways, I know that I'm a very strong, powerful being energetically, and I don't mean like, oh, who'd you do? I'm so awesome, and I'm better than anyone. I don't mean in that way, but I know that I was here in service to fulfill certain tasks and do certain things on this planet, and I think I was perceived as a threat, and multiple people have told me that they have tried to take me out of this life, but that still has nothing to do with energetic synthesis, so I have to return back to the thread. Um, so after all these hospital stays where I totally forgot that I was a spiritual being, I was just so in mess, and I didn't feel, I don't know, it's just devastating. I got home and I started doing some of the ES meditations. I couldn't really feel my soul, like I could grieve a lot, I could feel desperation and all these things, which I'm now not sure if that was like also entity interference, because they love to feed off our suffering. But I woke up every morning thinking like, oh God, and I woke up again, like to this life, what the fuck? Like this is not a life that I chose. So I think I rejected a lot of parts of me. I rejected life to a certain degree. Anyways, I started doing meditations with ES, and I couldn't really feel them doing anything. Like I couldn't feel my heart. I couldn't feel what the fuck was happening. But I kept doing them. And then at some point, I thought I was guided. Now I'm not sure if that was guidance. Because I couldn't feel that in my heart, whether that was true guidance or not. So maybe that was mind control bullshit, I don't know. But I felt guided because I was a member of ES to write my story in the form of what had happened. And a few people reached out to me and were like, "Oh, thank you for being so vulnerable and sharing your story and blah blah blah." And I said too much about who I am as a like what my star identity. I said too much about that. I shouldn't have revealed that because it's nobody's business. Um, so I connected with a couple of healers and I talked to two of them, and they both offered me free consultations before getting down to business. And I have to say, the first one was super sweet. She was very nice, but I didn't have the feeling that she could profoundly shift anything for me, anything major. The second one, she tried really hard to make things better, but it didn't really shift a lot, unfortunately. But she tried. Um, and she kept telling me to do the meditations and to do the 12D shield and everything, but it didn't feel right to do the 12D shield. It just didn't feel right. And then I started questioning my own intuition again because they were like, no, um, that is all God architecture. All of ES is God architecture. And I was just like, okay, sure. So I did a bunch of meditations, this and that and everything. And yeah, they made everything worse. They made everything worse. And I was frustrated because I was just like, what is going on here? So at some point, because I was a member of the Blue site, after I didn't, I couldn't afford to pay with my Canadian bank account. I couldn't afford to pay the membership anymore. So I asked Lisa, Lisa, is there any way I can translate the page into German, because I think it's good information and maybe that's a good idea. And she responded, thank you for your kind offer, but I have this feeling that it would make your trauma worse for you, which could be true. An alternate, and yeah, or the other option is that she felt threatened by me because I question things and I can see through things, and I don't know. That's one story, but she was kind enough to offer me a membership of the the green site, which is like more a basic, working on the basics kind of site before you get into the more advanced spiritual stuff. And at the time, I was just like, okay, thank you, that's very kind of you. And I thought that was great. But I didn't feel internally guided to go into that page, which is interesting. Like, I didn't feel this nudge inside of me that was like, oh, do that, do that. No, I didn't feel that. So I didn't. But I lost my train of thought. Maybe I was about to say something that I shouldn't have said. Clear. Yeah, anyways. So I trusted her with that, and I was like, okay, thank you for that offer. But at the same time, I did, because I downloaded a lot of the meditations from the Platinum archives. I did a lot of them, and none of them helped. And at some point, I got really frustrated because I could feel that stuff was moving through my body, but I couldn't process it like a normal human being. So I emailed her and I was just like, Lisa, there's something weird going on. Like, this is not working for me. Like, it's just making it worse, and I don't know why, and I need help. And all she wrote back to me was, oh, that's too bad. I will remove your 6-month membership. It looks like you're gonna have to go with a regular therapist, which did not feel right in my intuition. That I was just like, no, that doesn't help me. That is not something that could help me. Um, yeah, so things kept getting worse, and um, because I was with my abusive family, and I had no way out. Sitting in a wheelchair, can't just move back to Canada very easily. Not a lot of friends in Germany. No doors opening. Um, being reliant on your family to support you with certain things. I It got really bad again with the suicide thing, and I messaged Lisa again, and I was just like, hey, can you please help me? Can you please give me any guidance? Can you please help me? And no response. And um, I could feel that people were usurping and taking my energy from me, whether knowingly or unknowingly. I don't really know. But it was getting really bad, and I tried to find ways to do it again. And I was kept from doing it, even though I am convinced that it was my guidance, that it was God's wish for me to get the fuck out of there because he knew that it would just get worse. And I had that very strong intuition that things would just get worse. And so I tried different things, but they didn't work. And to be honest, I couldn't really, I did it before, but I wasn't able to do that to myself anymore. Probably because I had done it before and it had failed. But once I got recollected and by the police in one of the attempts and put into the psych ward again. And in the story of the psych ward is a different one. But what I want to say is that I've reached out to Lisa at least 4 times or 5 times because I saw her as someone who has a level of consciousness that knows how to deal with complex consciousness problems, which not many people on this planet can do, like fixing energy fragmentation. I thought that she was someone connected to God, where God would act through her, but I was greatly misled by that because I am very certain that if someone with my problems would come, someone on a descending arc timeline where the soul is imploding and you're fucking dying and you might be dying forever, you being annihilated um, by the medical system currently. In this case, like I'm in the psych ward and this place is a fucking nightmare. This is not about making my soul whole again or better. This is about messing with your mind, and um, they are trying to further take down my consciousness and rip out soul parts of me. I know it sounds crazy, but that's why I'm in the psych ward. And now I'm allowed to say crazy things because I'm officially in the psych ward. So, um, yeah, I messaged her a bunch of times. I pleaded with her. I was just like, please help me. Lisa, I'm so desperate. And then at some point, um, the stuff started coming up inside of me, just like memories. Like, for example, that I think that I was MK Ultra'd. That came up. The next thing that came up that was taken out of me was um, um, I'm a master ancient builder. Like I have master ancient builder quotes, and it's totally irrelevant what that is. I, I should just say have I have was carrying energetic codes inside of me that I could feel coming to the surface, but not in a soul embodied way. Um, it was like they were coming up, and I was just like, oh, reminded, but I couldn't access that part of me and its wisdom. Um, and then the day before this actually happened, a voice told me because I can't really sense guidance in my heart anymore. So um, I have these stupid voices that tell me things, and one is right, and the other one is bullshit. It's like angel and demon. I don't know, but kept telling me, "Oh, Lisa will help you on Monday. Lisa will help you on Monday," and I was just like, "Yeah, okay." And I was just like, "That would be great." Monday came around. I noticed that these patterns were coming up, the things that I have no proof, obviously, because if you have no proof, you can't just use that. Um, yeah, but the day that Lisa was allegedly going to contact me and help me, these two very, very important things came out of my soul, and I couldn't help it. I emailed her and I said, "Hey, look, this is what just happened, and I'm curious. Do you maybe know why that happened or where they went? Because they need to be protected from fucking evil, don't they?" Um, Nothing. No reply. Holographic discs are very, very sought after by the dark forces because they contain a lot of important information. I hope and pray that they can only activate them with a pure heart. Um, well, but maybe they're gonna steal that from me too. I don't know what's happening next with me. There's multiple theories. I'm scared that they're gonna turn me into some kind of cyborg or something. I mentioned that to Lisa. Though, hey, I'm scared that they are trying to implement the transhumanist agenda inside of me because they're ripping my soul out. Kind of like the Great Reset. Own nothing and be fucking happy. That's happening inside of me. It's all eroded and taken away, and I have not the same personal power that I used to have because I'm operating from a certain altar where everything can be taken away, and I can't prevent it. I pray to God, stop it from going anywhere. No, nothing happens. I'm like totally at their mercy, and you would like to think that someone who claims to be to be working for God would assist someone if they could. And she is not. And that is why I'm now exposing her. And I know that I would have acted very differently. I would have given advice. If I wouldn't have known what to do, I would have given advice as to how the problem can be resolved, or a little hint of like, this is what's going in your energy field on in your energy field. But she didn't do that, so she's negligent, and karmically, I am hereby holding her responsible to what is happening to me. Um, and I really don't buy into the ES story anymore. Um, I mean, who else? I don't know why I even trusted her in the first place. I should have, I don't know what else. If they may have taken from me, I really don't know. But yeah, it's like biohacking into the soul and taking fucking pieces out of it. And if you are going to do that to me with any of the pieces that I still have left, then fuck you. Then really, like, you're an evil asshole and you don't deserve to be on this planet. But I just wanted to share this. Um, I know it's dangerous for me to share this because uh, I'm probably gonna be psychically attacked, and my energy field is very weak right now, so it could kill me, to be honest. Um, but I have to say, I need to say the truth and share my experience.